going a bit off script here because it's such a
No, no,
curious
cool.
topic for me. But is uh, so when I look at people in my life, and there's always certain people who I think about, like if you're in the pub with, or if you're in a social situation with. There's very often like one or two people who are just those born storytellers, and there's one in my head I
Yeah.
know I can think of very clearly who will have everyone like just there on on every word he says.
Yeah.
And some people maybe call that charisma. Some people may call it storytelling, whatever. I don't know. Maybe a combination of both. Maybe something else. Is it something you can learn? Is it something you can develop?
I hope so, because that's how I make a living. But it's, but
I
yeah,
kind of
it
teed
absolutely,
that question up a little
yeah,
bit.
bang, smack it out the park. It's, yeah, it absolutely is. And the interesting, there are people who I agree with you are born storytellers, and
Yeah.
I absolutely love working in Ireland. And I've got a couple of clients who I go over to Dublin quite regularly and help over there. And if there is a nation of storytellers, I know it's a bit of a
There is,
cliche,
isn't there?
it is
Yeah.
the Irish. It's an amazing. They're great. Actually, often my job really is in the corporate world is just giving them the permission. I think to answer your question more fully, though, yes,
Yeah.
it is. And bizarrely, I think that the answer to it is people think, oh, I'm going to be showing off. I'm going to be, I have to hold the room, and all the attention has to be on me if I'm going to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
Bizarrely, I think exactly the opposite is true. Is that what we are doing in great storytelling is, I told you that story of, me going to Switzerland and being in that room and having no idea what people were talking. And
Yeah.
hopefully you're looking at me, but really what your mind is looking at is that image of somewhere where you haven't been before, of that image of me going to the loo, calling my wife and saying, what do I do here? And panicking because, so
I hadn't thought
gone.
about it at the time. I hadn't thought about that. But as soon as you just said that, I visualized the whole thing you were talking about. I could picture you in the
That's it.
room. I could picture men in suits around a big boardroom table.
That's it.
And I hadn't
That's
picked up on that.
storytelling.
That's strange.
Yeah, no, it's that's the secret sauce of Oh, hang on, we'll talk about Yuri shoulders later, but we're but that is the secret of that is the secret of storytelling, and it's a great thing for people who are nervous presenters, who are maybe a little bit more introvert, is they think, oh, I don't want to be the center of attention. Once you get them to realize that, hey, guess what? You're not going to be if you tell stories, because you are
You're a
creating
narrator,
this.
right?
You're a narrator. You're sort of creating
Yeah.
an image between the two of you, which they're going to be looking at. Their eyes will be looking at you, but their mind is focusing on this image that you've created for them. I mean, it's an amazing thing. Having said that, you do have to sort of. If I just sat there going, and I went to Switzerland and I was in the loo talking to my wife, your focus would be totally on me, thinking, why is this boring man banging on and on and on? Whereas in actual fact, that the more that you put into the story, the less they notice. So you wouldn't have noticed me probably do my rather, florid hand gestures and stuff just because that's
Yeah.
how I am. An Italian trapped in an English Australian body. But I mean, actually, it's sort of, you wouldn't have noticed that, but actually,
I hadn't noticed it. And I
exactly
hadn't
right.
noticed that I was
Exactly right.
even visualizing it either, which is
Yeah.
kind of a bit freaky now I think about it.
That's it. That's the end. Chris Hutchins, thank you very much. That's the end of the podcast.
Yeah, anyway,
that's
thanks for
that's my
coming.
knowledge in one. Yeah, thank you, mate.